So this is the My iMaths exercise called the quadratic formula, all about solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Question 1, write down the values of a, b and c for the equation x squared plus 6x plus 2 equals 0. So a is just the amount of x that we've got, so it just says x squared, so that's just 1x squared. I can fill that in. B is the amount of x we've got, 6 in this case, so let's fill in 6. And then finally c is the number on the end, the plus 2, so 2. That's when it's rearranged as something x squared plus something x plus 2 equals 0. So that only applies if you've got the whole thing equal to 0. So anyway, it says substitute into the formula and solve the equation. So the formula is this thing here, and the a, b and c in that formula are the 1, 6 and 2 that we just identified. So I'm going to go onto my board now. Okay, so I've got x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and that's where a equals 1, b equals 6 and c equals 2. So it's just a question of putting that a, b and c into the formula and simplifying it. So let's start with the a's. So a is 1, so 2a becomes 2 times 1, and then 4ac, so that becomes 4 times 1 times c. So I like to use brackets, 4 times 1 times c, like that, rather than the multiplication sign, because that looks a bit like an x. So 4 bracket 1 bracket c means just multiplying those things together. Can simplify that a bit. 4 times 1 times c is just 4c, 4 times c, so 4c. 2 times 1 is just 2, so there we are. Let's put the b's in now. So b is 6, so minus b becomes minus 6. That minus was already in the formula. B squared becomes 6 squared, and 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is 36. And then that's all the b's. Let's put the c's in. 4c, so that becomes 4 times 2, and 4 times 2 is 8, so I'll stick an 8 in there. So we've got that. We've got the square root sign, which is kind of like having brackets there. It's a calculation you've got to do before anything else. So 36 minus 8 is 28, so I'll just replace that with 28 there. So we've got minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 28 all divided by 2. Okay, so that's that gives us two answers. Let's just give that a wipe. So it gives us the two answers, one with a plus here and one with a minus here. So x can be minus 6 plus the square root of 28 all divided by 2, or it can be minus 6 minus the square root of 28 all divided by 2. So for quadratic equations you expect often to get two solutions, and those two solutions are obtained from the plus and minus alternative in the formula. Okay, so it's just a question of finding where on earth I put my calculator on this desk. So actually I've got the on-screen calculator, that's the one that's used in the IB exam, so might as well get the hang of using that. So I can click a button over here to get something that looks like a fraction. There we are, and then I can put the minus 6 plus the square root of 28 square root of 28 on the top and the 2 on the bottom, and then it immediately gives me the answer minus 0.354 and some more digits. And then, in fact, to save myself a bit of time, I can just change to the minus there, and without having to type the formula in again, and I get the other answer, minus 5.645. So I wrote those down as I was doing that, and now I can put them into the iMaths. So I filled those in on iMaths. I've rounded them to 1 decimal place, as it says on the screen there. So the minus 0.354 rounded to minus 0.4, and the minus 5.645 and some more digits rounded to minus 5.6. On to the next question. Write down the values of a, b and c, then solve this equation. Okay, so the a, b and c are 4 here, minus 5 here in front of the x, and minus 1 on the end. So let's just fill those in. 4 and minus 5 and minus 1. And then we can go onto the whiteboard for solving it. So I've written down the formula again and the a, b and c that we're going to use. So I'll just start plugging these numbers into that formula. So we've got an a here. A is 4, so I'll just replace that a with a 4. I'll just put it in brackets like that to show that I'm multiplying those things and avoid using the cross sign for multiplication. And then there's an a at the bottom as well, so that's going to become 4. So the bottom is going to become 2 times 4. B squared. Now we've got to be careful here because b is a minus number and we want to square the minus part of it as well. So when I put that into the formula, it's going to be minus 5 in brackets, and that's all getting squared. Yep, so it's important that the minus bit is getting squared as well. Then there's a b here as well. You've got a minus that's already in the formula, but b is a minus number itself. So you're going to get a minus minus there, minus 5. And then finally c is minus 1. So again, that's another minus you might trip over. I'm going to put minus 1 in the brackets there to multiply by minus 1. Okay, so this needs tidying up a bit. 2 times 4 on the bottom is just 8. Minus 5, that's just the same as plus 5. So, and my daughter's just arrived. Yeah, minus makes plus. So I've just, they cancel each other out. Now this is where you've got to be careful. Minus 5 squared. So minus 5 times minus 5 makes plus 25. So when you square minus 5, you get 25. And of course the mistake you might make is to forget about squaring the minus and get minus 25 there instead. Okay, so where are we at? A little bit distracted here. Ellen says hello.
Hello.
Okay, 4 times 4 times minus 1 is minus 16. So from multiplying all of that lot together, you get minus 16. But which means that you're left in the formula with a minus, because there was a minus that was already in the formula, and then you get a minus number from the last bit inside the square root. So you get 25 minus 16, and minus of course makes plus, so that's the same as 25 plus 16, which is 41. So you get 5 plus or minus the square root of 41 divided by 8. So I'm just going to go over to my on-screen calculator again. So back to the on-screen calculator, I've already put everything in, and it's given me, well, having a plus there, it gives me 1.42 and some more digits. I'm going to round that to 1.4, and then all I need to do to get the other solution is change that
Daddy.
plus. Ellen, I'm talking, darling. No, stop. 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 Five, four, three, two, one. So onto my on-screen calculator. Ellen, I am talking. You have to stop. What? We're going to ask more for a drink. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm onto my on-screen calculator. I've put in 5 plus the square root of 41 divided by 8, and it's given me 1.425, some more digits. I'm just going to round that to 1.4, and then all I need to do to get the other solution is change that plus for a minus, and immediately it gives me the other solution without having to type in all of that stuff. Minus 0.17539, blah blah blah. So I'm going to round that to minus 0.2. So I've written those down, and all that remains is to put them in my iMaths. So x equals 1.4 or minus 0.2, 0.2, and let's mark it. 10 out of 10, that's encouraging.